Hello everyone, this is Greg with Northern Audio, and I just wanted to give a quick update, some of the changes that we've made recently. And actually we have some big changes in every single room, some new equipment, so worthy of a trip if you haven't been down there in the last month. But just wanted to touch base on what some of those pieces were. So the first thing that we've got new recently would be the Hifi Rose RD160 DAC. Fantastic piece. We have it hooked up with the streamer, Hifi Rose streamer. The faceplate on it, lots of different options, looks fantastic as far as the display is concerned, but you also get a lot of the features touchscreen on there where you can change the sampling rate, the different slopes of the curves, everything is right on the front, works seamlessly with the streamer, has a really good sound to it, really 3D, deep sound stage, so that's worth stopping in and seeing. Also on the floor, we have the Totem Element speakers that we just put up. Now these guys here, if you haven't heard Totem in general, these are a speaker that is more in the realm of phase and time aligned design. Huge sound stage with these guys, and that's certainly an effect of that design. But if you've never heard a high-end Totem speaker, this is definitely one to come in and see. We've had this hooked up on numerous integrated amps, plays well across the board, but just has a real infectious sound stage to it. Then stepping over here, we actually have the Rosso Arno40s that we just recently got in as well. We have those set up in the orange room. If you've ever heard a Rosso speaker, very smooth, relaxed sound. It's very deep sound stage to it, very wide left and right into the speaker. But the tonality on these guys are just very neutral and very musical sounding speaker. So we have these set up on the floor, and we're running this on, we have the Hagel H190, or we're on the Electrocompaniet as well. And speaking of Electrocompaniet, that's also a new piece that we have in. We have their DAC, the Electrocompaniet ECI Mark II. And we also have that hooked up to their integrated. This piece right here is, I gotta say that this one really here is something that you wanna stop in and hear. We have this hooked up on the Rossos. It just has a resolution to it that you don't really hear that often in this price point of DACs. There's really nothing we haven't thrown at it as far as high resolution files, Super Audio CD, DSD, whatever you want to throw at it musical library wise, this thing has absolutely been able to handle it all smooth like butter. And in the main room, we have a couple changes to talk about that's certainly worthy of a trip. But first off, I want to let everyone know the ATC 50SL speakers, these guys are going to be here for about a week longer, as well as with the subwoofer. So if you haven't had the chance to hear these, which feature the soft dome mid-range, these are speakers that actually are used in the production of music. These are worthy of a trip in themselves. Also on the floor new, we did a separate video on these guys, but the MonAcoustic VC One, we now have the VC2 add-on, which has the woofer and the super tweeter. We're running that on the Jaw D KT88 tube amp. Wonderful combination. I did a video on these guys separately, so I won't beat the dead horse on that one, but go see the video. These are a very special speaker, something to behold. Certainly bring your ears for these guys. Then the other thing in the new, in the main room we have on display is we are running the Bob step-up device. Now, if you're not familiar with step-up transformers and using them with moving coil, we're a big believer in that here, so certainly ask for a demo on that. We have a link down in the description that'll talk a little bit more about that. But in the main room, we have the Luxman LMC5 phono cartridge hooked up running through the Bob step-up device. So if you've never heard that sound, that's worthy of a trip as well. In the blue room, we have several good additions that sonically, just great speakers. We did a video on these guys as well, but these are the Totem Element Fire series. These guys did the video, again, won't go into great detail, but one of the big features of these speakers here is they only use one crossover. I mentioned this in the video, but the only crossover they use is a first order crossover on the tweeter, no crossover on the woofer. So what that does is it keeps the speaker completely time and phase aligned and gives you a sound stage that's out of this world for a speaker this size. It's something to hear, to believe. Then also in this room over here, we have the Totem Tribe. Of the same ilk, cut from the same cloth as far as design philosophy, gives you that larger than life sound stage, and especially coming from a speaker this small. It's another one of those, you kind of stare at it and wonder, how is it doing that? So these two speakers are a great addition in the blue room, really fit the room size well. If you're looking for something bookshelf, smaller room, third bedroom, maybe a section of the basement that can now be an audio section, these are great speakers to take a look at for those as well. And for our last stop here at Northern Audio, with the theater room, we have some new demos on display. We've been updated with Kaleidoscape, so if you haven't stopped down and heard the theater as of late, in the last 3 months, one of the things we've done is we've actually tuned the theater, and it is hyper accurate for Dolby Atmos. So if you've never heard a system that's set up in a manner professionally to hear what object-based audio really sounds like, stop in and see that. It'll blow you away. That being said, we have a lonely shelf here in the theater room. So if you're like me, Generation X, you probably play video games. And I got to thinking, this is a match made in heaven. A giant theater, 161-inch screen. Just makes sense. So I brought in an Xbox to check out what that looked like, and I got to tell you, Madden Football was outstanding. So if you are a video game player, we are going to have some video game systems on display here in the theater, so you can kind of check out what that experience is like, see what it's like to actually play, say, baseball, football, sports game, Call of Duty, whatever your thing is, but to really have that real immersion into it, to feel like you're in a football stadium on a 161-inch screen and be able to play online competitively. These are marriages made in heaven as far as I'm concerned for home theater. That's what first piqued my interest many years ago. So look for that. We're going to be bringing that soon. I think that'll be a lot of fun. So come see us, 3003 Babcock Boulevard. And as always, thanks again for listening to the music.